Hello, happy Sunday. It is our first weekend of September, and I am popping on here in the late morning, but it's still technically morning here, and I am still in my pajamas. It's a busy weekend, and we had a really special opportunity last night to attend the opening show for the Aerosmith Peace Out farewell tour. So it was amazing, and I actually have some photos and video that I will share here for anyone interested. And of course, the spiritual breadcrumbs are never lost on me, so I was making some connections as well as I enjoyed the concert so much. This is being recorded here on the Sharecast on Marco Polo. This is the September Empowerment Sharecast. So if you're watching this on any of the other social media platforms, check for the link because this is the place to be. It's a free opportunity that I offer every month for us to connect in a more intimate way. It's a quiet corner outside of the noise of social media, no ads, no algorithms. It's just a great direct place for me to be able to share with you with ease. And this is one of the big parts of our week every month is I'll be coming in here and pulling cards for our week ahead, a collective spread that I do for us every week to tune into what is coming up for us collectively. And then I offer for you a personal card pull if you would like one for your week ahead energies. Now, normally we have a Facebook Live over on the Majestic community group, and this week I can't do it because of the busy weekend. So I'm sad to be missing that, but I'm glad to have time to pop in here to pull the cards and offer you the personal card pulls right here. So what you can do, if you're watching on Marco Polo, after each video here, you'll get a little quick reply opportunity where you can reply to me and let me know, or you can reach out to me with a message on any of the social media places. And this week I will pull a card just for you that will fold in with the collective messages. And I'll send it to you privately right here, which is super cool. So we are going to be working with this gorgeous deck this month. It's called the Raven Dream Tarot by MJ Cullinane. I just received it. It's the first edition of this deck. I've literally only pulled the cards that we had for the weekend that you see. So the previous post. So we're going to be diving into this. And as a matter of fact, as I get started here, we're going to be really kicking off the September Empowerment Pack on Monday, tomorrow, because I'll be recording the first reading for the month ahead for everyone that's with me for the Empowerment Pack. So there is definitely still time to join us if you're interested. I have information here in the prior Polo posts. Try to say that 3 times fast, where you are welcome to join me for 3 comprehensive readings this month, unlimited 1-card pulls, exclusive discounts, and so much more. So we'll be diving into that tomorrow with some of these altar elements and aspects that you see here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get ready to pull cards for our week ahead. So I am going to spray, I think I'm going to spray the earth element. I'm just sipping the last bit of my coffee. It was a late night. It was a lot of excitement, beautiful time, coming back into my body, getting grounded here and ready for another busy day of going out there and socializing. So I'm doing a little grounding right now to get here. And we're going to start shuffling for our 5-card spread. So here, Monday's card is sort of an overview of the week ahead, just sort of gives us an overview of the theme or elements that we may see playing out for us this week. So we're going to pull that first card. 1 card for Monday. Ooh, Judgment, Awakening. Wow. I have to say, I've really been feeling this Uranus retrograde just kicked off last week. And that being, of course, so connected in with wake-ups and awakenings coming in. So I'm really feeling that energy here with that card for Monday. Tuesday, what a beautiful card too. Tuesday is a potential block or challenge that we may come across this week in any number of ways, but a little insight to those more challenging aspects of the week. King of Wands. Wow, look at that. Okay, King of Wands energy coming in for the challenge. Wednesday is our midweek blessing. A midweek blessing. Page of Swords. Wow, this card came up actually for the weekend. So you may know that this card came up in the previous card pull I did here for what was to know for this weekend. So I'm really feeling that because there was a couple of different references there, especially for those with kiddies back to school or those who are embarking on new courses, classes, leveling up, you know, that type of energy, curiosity, and adventure. So really interesting that that card's coming up again. Thursday, how are we growing? Two of Cups. Wow, look at that. Beautiful. Love that. Dragonfly, the lilies. Gorgeous. So much to unpack with these cards. Friday wraps up the week for us. A little wrap up for our first full week of September. I'm going to take a look at the astrological aspects for this week too to see if anything I want to mention as well when we kick off breaking down each one of these cards. I'll be popping in here now to take one at a time to chat about the messages coming forth. And what's really cool here is then you can tune in and watch that whenever as the week plays out. At the end of the week, I like to go back and see so I can really reflect on how it all came forward. Love to hear from you guys on how it may have resonated for you, how it shows up. So this will give us a little exclamation point for the week, wrapping things up. Ace of Wands. Wow. Okay. So definitely feeling the connection between the King of Wands as our potential blocker challenge and then the Ace of Wands putting the punctuation mark on this week. And yeah, I'm seeing some breadcrumbs from the show last night already. Okay. Well, I'm going to reset here, probably get myself a little water and prepare to pop on for a little PJ party before I need to go get myself ready for the next day of fun and activities here happening. So thank you so much for being here. Stay tuned for our breakdown of these week ahead messages. So here we have our 5-card spread for our collective week ahead, and just dipping in here a little bit to some of the energetic aspects that are at play this week. And yes, there are several. So kicking off the month of September, there is a lot of activity in the skies, starting with right here and now, as I mentioned over the weekend, that Venus would be finally stationing direct after her long journey through retrograde that started back in July. And so happening between today, September 3rd and 4th, Venus stations direct. And, you know, during the time of retrograde that we've been moving through with Venus, she's really taken center stage. Because she was retrograde in the sign of Leo, it was really shining a light on our relationships with others, our relationship with self, and relationships themselves, you know, how we relate to others and aspects and things, including especially perhaps around money and our self-worth. So since that time back in July, it's likely that we've been on some type of a journey of sort of exploring what all that means, having to journey deep into our hearts and find our truth to figure out if we feel like we're on the right path or perhaps needing to make some changes. And so that's kind of where I found myself as we wound down August. Pathways, you know, new pathways. And now with the channeled words for this month, September in alignment, all about coming into alignment with our highest and greatest path for us now, our most aligned path here and now, knowing that those paths meander and change course regularly, which is also why we have all of the elementals coming in this month to support us through the elements of change. So, you know, with Venus now stationing direct, we are perhaps reflecting back on some of these changes that we felt nudged to make, or rather catapulted into to make under Venus retrograde, which could be around relationships in our lives, things that we found no longer feeling aligned and drawn to cut ties with others, or to work through why certain themes or insecurities tend to come up in our relationships. So Venus retrograde gets us working on those matters of the heart and connection, to reevaluate what's important and no longer aligned with our values. And so in that heart opening, of course, because it's Venus and it's Leo, as our heart was opening into this space, certain relationships may have even grown deeper, and then other relationships we felt drawn to cut. So now that Venus is stationing direct, it's going to be a clarifying point here on our journeys. So really feeling this next level that helps to light the way forward. So of course, as planets station direct, there's still a post-retrograde shadow. So that's going to continue through this whole week until about October 8th for us to still be having those little aftershock waves of energies. So don't be surprised this week if some of those things are sort of highlighted once again, because a lot of times the energies of retrograde are stronger when the planet first stations retrograde, and when it stations direct is when we tend to feel them most strongly. So, we have one go direct while another one goes back, because September 4th, Monday, Jupiter will be stationing retrograde, joining in on all the fun. So just as Venus returns, Jupiter enters in. So Jupiter retrograde is not quite as rare as Venus retrograde. So therefore its energy is not as powerful, but with Jupiter in retrograde, it can expand things, right? The planet of expansion and things that we've been ignoring. So when this planet of expansion is in retrograde, it can expand things from our subconscious and the hidden realms. And we can use this energy to face up to problems, to see the finer details in things and gain more clarity on the bigger picture. I'm definitely going to talk about all this with our, in fact, perfectly placed Monday card, Judgment. This is absolutely big, expansive energy. So how perfect that came up to set the tone for our week with this Jupiter retrograde. So, it's helping us to move through things that we may feel a little overwhelmed or stuck on. Maybe one particular problem. It feels like a record skipping, around and around. And so it could be hard for us to break out of cycles of thinking or to see beyond this issue that's right in front of us. So if you notice that energy manifesting for you during Jupiter retrograde, it can be a good offset to bring your awareness back to gratitude. Because when you focus on all you feel grateful for, it's a great way to help ease any of that difficult energy. And Jupiter will remain retrograde until December 30th. So it's one of the planets that's with us for the long haul through the end of the year. We've got two more highlights here, guys, this week. So we have September 6th, Mercury star point, and that occurs when Mercury aligns with the sun. And that's also sometimes referred to as a Mercury cazimi. Mercury is currently in retrograde, shock, as I sit in front of my black computer screen because my computer is still not working, as we had all kinds of cable issues this morning and resetting the internet, etc. So this alignment with the sun will actually help to bring some clarity to whatever the retrograde energies have been stirring up. So, if you've been dealing with miscommunications, any contract disputes, travel issues, or cluttered thinking, it's at this time that we may get some relief. So this is a beautiful little period of grace, a little moment where answers could reveal themselves. Wow, even more appropriate with this Monday card. So stay open to any messages that you receive this time over that September 6th Mercury star point. And then finally, just for this week, September 7th through 8th, the sun trines Jupiter. And so that is considered a magical day when the sun and Jupiter are in harmonious alignment. And like I said, Jupiter is the planet of expansion and abundance. So while it's retrograde under this alignment, that's a powerful day to seek out the silver lining and just keep your spirits lifted, right? Remain optimistic about any outcomes because they just may lead you down a brighter and more abundant path. How perfect. Pathways of alignment. I'm really feeling it. Now, just on the other side of this week, we will have the power day of 9/9. So I'll be popping in to talk about that. But I think that gets us off to a great start for this week where these cards are covering September 4th through 8th. So let's dive in and pull apart Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to feel into these collective energies. And again, if you would like a personal card pull to weave in with these messages, feel free to let me know, and we will pull one for you this week as well. Let's take a look. Okay, we are kicking it off here for the week ahead, and now it is officially afternoon, and yes, I'm still in my PJs, chaos coordinator, reporting for duty, moving a little slower than usual, but I'm here. So let's feel into these energies this week. I am really blown away by the perfection of this card coming forward for us. Judgment, card 20 of the Major Arcana, almost fully around the Fool's Journey at the end of the wheel before starting anew. And this is a gorgeous version of this card of awakening, this card of rebirth, of renewal, of coming to a place of expanded authenticity, of standing in our power as our most authentic selves. So some of the ways that we are seeing this absolutely coming up collectively on the big stage are, cycles that we have come through as a collective coming around again as yet another wake-up call or opportunity for us to decide, who we are and how we move through these cycles as a collective. And the idea that begins with each and every one of us standing in our own power and authenticity, however that may be showing up for you with some of these bigger collective issues. This is a big energy card that shows traditionally Archangel Gabriel, the messenger angel, the horn that is sounding, this rising up from the crypt and awakening to the call, and so here it's beautifully depicted with these hummingbirds sounding this horn that we see again, what has fallen away and stripped away with the raven rising up from that in its most authentic and sovereign form. Okay, so judgment has us looking at the ways that we have judged self and others, the way we have been judged, self and others, and really having an opportunity to decide, again, like as if we were picking off each of these feathers, these aspects, these old skins, these old ways that no longer suit us and can no longer stand. So I'm really feeling this coming in. And of course, like I mentioned, the Uranus retrograde energy that has kicked off last Tuesday when Uranus stationed retrograde, really bringing in this energy of the inner rebel, the thought of independence, of freedom, expansion. And now, as I mentioned, we have Jupiter going retrograde this week, which is bringing in expansion as well. So really, I feel like, again, this rising up and out, like in this really exalted way is how I'm feeling. But the book actually has beautiful headings and categories of the different key words of how this can show up for you. And I'm taking the time with this card because these are highlighting themes for our week ahead. So as I mentioned, evaluation and reflection. So this way for us to have that in-depth assessment and reflection on judgment, criticism, aspects of beliefs that are no longer fitting, that no longer resonate. It indicates that you may find yourself at a point where you have an opportunity to understand and evaluate your past actions and decisions in light of your present situation. So things coming up this week on your path that harken back to previous beliefs, decisions, actions that you've taken, and deciding where to from here. How am I, knowing what I know now, how am I going to respond, and how am I going to handle, and how am I going to set out on this new leg of my journey. Rebirth and renewal. So the Judgment card is often associated with a sense of rebirth or renewal, and it symbolizes a point of significant change or transition. So it's so perfect. Coming up this first full week of September, we've been talking so much about the change in the wind, the elements of change, this idea of new season, new month, new moon phases, everything kind of changing and turning over, rebirth and renewal. This weekend, really typically, especially in the US, with it being, as I mentioned, Labor Day weekend, symbolizes the end of summer, symbolizes that last hurrah before we pivot and turn to the next season. So that energy is definitely very present collectively. And so, it can feel like a bit of a resurrection or rebirth into a new phase of life. And like I said, this can show up in big, big ways, in the macrocosm, but in the microcosm, you might be thinking about, changing out wardrobe and needing to get a sweater in the evenings or something, that as there's change in the wind and things are changing over, or if you're in the Southern Hemisphere and things are kind of lightening and coming again, rebirth and renewal for spring. So that energy is just so present. I just really, this card is beautifully perfect. Inner calling and realization. So Judgment can also represent an inner calling or realization. It's a wake-up call. So again, the horn is sounding. Will you respond to the call? And how will you respond to the call? Who are you showing up as when you come forward to this energy of realization? And so this could be a call toward your true purpose or vocation. And that's interesting because that'll speak to our Page of Swords that is on the altar this week as well. So forgiveness and absolution is another overarching theme of this card. And the Judgment card can indicate a time of absolution or forgiveness towards yourself or someone else. Perfect as we close out Venus retrograde. Those relationships. Again, like I said, whether you were able to clear something up and grow even deeper into a relationship or needing to cut ties with a relationship, whatever we're doing, we can do so with love, with gratitude, with honor. So there's this opportunity to honor the role that was played in any dynamic. And of course, coming through that super full moon in Pisces, which was that great opportunity for bringing up all of those emotions and having this opportunity for release, shedding, and forgiveness, we kick off the week with this card having an opportunity for forgiveness and absolution. So a reminder that everyone can change and start anew. And not only can they, so should we, right? We're supposed to change, right? We're not supposed to stay the caterpillar forever. So we're all on our own unique journey of metamorphosis, transformation, and change. Beautiful. And finally, there's so many references here. Spiritual awakening. So Judgment can signify a spiritual awakening or realization. So it's about coming to a new understanding of yourself and the world around you. So this card suggests that you are rising up and moving closer to your higher self and purpose. Like I said, greater, more aligned pathways becoming clear for us now. So that's the energy that we step into as we kick off September. I love this. So super curious to see what's coming up for everybody personally in the month ahead readings. And like I said, I will be kicking off the September Empowerment Pack tomorrow, Monday, which you are welcome to join me on. There are links here in the Marco Polo posts, as well as I'll put a link here with this video that I post anywhere on social media to share if you want to come along to dive even deeper into this beautiful energy. But let's take a look now at Tuesday for our potential block or challenge this week. So kicking off Tuesday it represents a potential block or challenge this week. And it's the King of Wands, which, of course, the King of Wands embodies all of the aspects of the Wands suit in the tarot, which is fire, which is creativity, which is innovation and action oriented, as far as being very like charismatic, all of that fiery energy. It's a Leo energy in the King of Wands. So it's really bringing in that shining on, being our bold, confident self. But it's really interesting because what's really cool about this deck is the whole thing being the Raven Dream Tarot. It's about this raven who's having a dream through the tarot and experiencing all of these archetypes and lessons. And so when I tuned into the story here for what's happening in this dynamic that we see here between a raven and the bear, there's a little bit of trickery going on here. There's a little bit of cunning, convincing energy coming. So the raven that is dreaming throughout the tarot witnesses in their dream an encounter between these two. And in that encounter, we have a bear that is considered every bit a king himself of considerable stature. And then this kingly raven that has this demeanor of royal authority who appeared to need assistance. So remember, we're thinking about this through the lens of ways this could potentially be a block or challenge this week as Venus stations direct, but yet we know that we could have a little bit of this last gasp this week of relationship dynamics. And of course, Mercury, the trickster, still very much in retrograde, energies of relationship and communication. Communication challenges, number one, but then how that can impact our relationships and dynamics with others. So keeping that in mind with this story, this raven displayed a knack for really having diplomacy and lauding the bear for its renowned ability to foster cooperation and camaraderie, which are all aspects of the King of Wands, characteristics that energy brings forward. But the raven's compliments were not just mere flattery. They were strategic and astute, aimed at garnering the bear's support. The Raven King exuded a charismatic presence and was hard to ignore. It knew just the right strings to pull, the precise words to utter to get the bear on its side. It was a master manipulator, guiding the conversation seamlessly toward the fruition of its plans. And so perhaps a reminder here, again, to be very cognizant of those types of things in your dealings, in your day-to-day with people. Now, the wands really tie me into career and work and business and creative ventures. So, maybe just shining a little light on something that could potentially pose itself as a challenge this week could be communications with other person, other situation, or a company, or a dynamic where it sounds really good, like a little bit of honey from the lips, but actually there's a little bit of a manipulative undercurrent or things not being fully transparent. So just to be hyper aware, again, of really tuning into your discernment and really running it through your internal truth detector to see whether that is landing for you or not. So it can be very, very convincing, it can be very sweet, but not always exactly how it appears on the surface. So it's just something to be aware of as we navigate this week. It'll be interesting to see how that may play out. But like I mentioned, we've been having all these issues with our internet and cable, and I know that my husband is about to embark on the very maddening journey of trying to call the cable company and reach someone to talk to you a human who can actually help you and advise you for your best interest. So I can already see that energy potentially filtering in here in the most practical way. So how might that show up for you? It will be interesting to see. So now let's take a look at Wednesday for a midweek blessing. All right, Wednesday brings us into a midweek blessing, and we have a repeat appearing card, which appeared for our weekend. So if you did get to catch the prior polo when I pulled cards for the weekend, or if you'd like to check that out, I do get into this card and some of the aspects in the book about this story, but this is showing up Page of Swords. And so I mentioned with the Page of Swords that there is this messenger energy of new information or messages coming in and around the sword suit, which is air, which speaks to our thoughts, our intellect, our ideas, our understandings. It's also a very curious and adventurous energy, a novice energy as well. So it was about setting out on new ventures, really trying out maybe some new things. And very specifically, I was sharing that this is like my student card. So like I said, many of us have children in our lives or adults who work in school or teaching settings who are sort of getting back on to school, back to school, or back to those routines of sort of setting out like with that little knapsack. This is something that kept coming up. Even I posted as we kicked into the weekend, my latest collaboration with my soul sis, Moonlight Soul. And we talked so much about the fool's knapsack, about packing that bag and what's going in the backpack. What are we taking with us? So that's a video that's now playing over on my YouTube channel with all kinds of goodies feeling into the upcoming energies. But here I'm really feeling that energy as this, again, striking out adventure, but also having this energy of mental alertness and awareness and shifts in perspectives and ideas coming in with that kind of aha energy, because the swords really speak to our intellect and our thoughts and mental capacity and understanding, but also the throat chakra and speaking and communicating. So the things that could be challenged here when it comes to communications and being alert, I think the blessing is this understanding, this opportunity. This is one of the reasons why we work with the cards as such a beautiful tool to help empower us with insight, guidance, and perspective, so that we already know to be aware of the potential for miscommunications or for things, needing to go a little bit deeper beneath the surface, to not have that, naivete when it comes to those interactions, And so a blessing, I think, is really connecting in with that energy and having that awareness as we move about, relying again on, like I always say, yes, our mind, our logic of rational thought and really processing it there in the head, but filtering it through into the heart, the gut, and back up again to really feel into that internal truth detector. So, the Page of Swords, maybe just highlighting, as people are stepping out into these new places and having to engage more of that mental, energy when it comes to classes, courses, workshops, new pathways of learning and expansion in that way, that's helping to really kind of invigorate. I feel this fresh air energy coming through that to set forward on your path on the best foot forward. So a lovely little blessing coming in to help us to really navigate through those energies. Let's take a look now at the Thursday energy for how we are growing. Thursday brings in how we are growing. So as we tune into our collective energies, how might we be growing into the beautiful, harmonious, blending partnership of Two of Cups? And look how gorgeous it is here in this card. And like I said, I'm getting so many nods to the visuals and the energies of the Aerosmith concert last night. Like, it's just so cool to see all these little breadcrumbs. I'm looking at some of the symbols like this, and also there was some on here as well that I'm feeling, that I'm gonna, like I said, after I go through all of these little recaps for our week, I'm gonna share some of that for anyone who's interested in checking it out. Not to be too much of a fangirl, but I thought you might appreciate. And again, it speaks to practical spirituality, everyday spirituality, that in all of our actions, where we go, what we're seeing, are all little spiritual breadcrumbs that when we listen closely, really slow down and connect, there's beautiful messages to intuit. So, Two of Cups. What I saw was, again, another stellar story here in the Raven's dream to share, because I think, again, it's an unlikely story that I might not get from this card had I not known these details, but I think it really weaves nicely with all of these prior messages. So I want to share with you the story of what's happening here in this Two of Cups. So in its slumber, the Raven found itself beside an enchanting coastal lake, a mesmerizing blend of fresh and salty scents wafting through the air. Within the dream, it was engaged in its usual routine of catching fish when an unexpected figure appeared, a seagull. Under usual circumstances, the Raven would have bristled at the newcomer's presence, instinctively guarding its food and territory. However, in this dream, an unusual affinity pulsed between the Raven and the seagull, replacing the expected rivalry. So interesting, there's a union happening here, a harmonizing where we would have anticipated a rivalry or some type of friction. So how are we growing in these unlikely connections? So it goes on to talk about, however, in this dream, this unusual affinity pulsed between the Raven and the seagull, as I said, replacing the expected rivalry. In the tranquil corners of this vision, the two birds discovered a unique harmony. They collaborated in their fishing endeavors and warded off potential interlopers. It was a realm where a symbolic partnership replaced competitive instincts. Upon awakening, the Raven was wrapped in thoughtful contemplation, its dreams still echoing. Perhaps, it mused, seagulls weren't adversaries to be battled, but potential allies to be befriended. This altered perspective, a gift from its dream, added a new depth to the Raven's understanding of its world. Wow. I'm getting so much collectively there, because what I'm feeling is, okay, so we start out with this energy of this awakening and this opportunity to answer the call, right? And decide what that means to us, and to strip away all of that old aspect of self, judgment, others, criticism, all of those things stripped away. Meanwhile, we sort of have this potential blocker challenge coming in about, be leery of things that sound really sweet and sound really good or sound really convincing that maybe aren't what they seem. Okay, so now we meander our way through to this blessing of striking out new, curious adventure, having this sort of reinvigorated energy, this fresh air, clarity. Okay, and now we wind into this beautiful story where I'm feeling that the Raven and Seagull here is some new understanding. This is not the same person, situation to be leery of. I feel like there's something then, and this can play out so differently for all of us individually, but those ripple effects of how it shows up in the collective and the higher, bigger stage energy of things that we're really being asked to use our discernment bring us into a place of noticing much more that these two have in common or have an ability to be allies on than not. And that previously they may have been pitted against each other in a way that created a lot of that rivalry, that competition. Remember, last week's midweek card for the full moon energies was the Five of Wands, stirring the poop, competition, scrabbling to the top, stepping all over, having that sense of division because I have to be the one and there's right, wrong, this sense of that chaotic energy of the five. Here, the two is bringing together balance and harmony and a choice to see something different. So I'm getting some big stage energies when we talk about how we are growing. What is on offer for us as a collective to grow into is perhaps coming together and looking at the strengths that we each have and recognizing there's so much more in common than not, no matter what they say and no matter how convincing they say it, right? So big messages there, but again, in the microcosm of the little ways that this can play up for you, it brings you into your partnerships. It brings you into, unlikely pairings, and like I said, with forgiveness on offer this week, there could perhaps be an option to blend, alchemize, and come together with another that was previously considered an adversary. So interesting energy there. Let's wrap it up with the Friday card. Now, wrapping up our collective week messages, we have the Friday card coming in, and it is quite the showstopper. This is the Ace of Wands, but as I dig into the beautiful Raven's Dream Tarot, there is an aspect of what is being dreamt here in the desert, this fire element. We have the talon here of the raven with the phoenix rising up from the ashes, and this idea again of fire, but rebirth, renewal, and new energy coming in. So this is really beautiful. More Aerosmith winks. I'm actually getting Dream On right now in my mind, which was amazing, by the way. The song Dream On. Which is, I'm getting a little bit of goosebumps. So actually it's quite perfect with all these energies, the lyrics and the message of that song. But the Ace of Wands is new energy again and I'm going to spray the fire elemental here. Fire came up more than, I guess, 3 times here, the predominance here, because judgment is associated with fire, as well as the 2 Wands cards, the King of Wands, the Ace of Wands. And then, of course, yes, we have the air with the Page of Swords, and the 2 of Cups brings in water. So again, these are all the elements of change. And so as we move through this month, I'm really feeling this energy of connecting in with the elements. And so this is the fire. And here, of course, as I use the earth in my card pull, I have those 2 pulled out, but also I will be highlighting this month. And these are all the angelic celestial colors, healing energy sprays that I work with as a part of my Metatron color healing practice. Also, we'll be bringing in air, water, and the cosmos for some really beautiful elemental energies as we move through the changes and the winding pathways of this month. So let's dive in here a little bit to this energy, because we have, again, some overarching energies that are available to us through this. And I just love this way that this is all labeled out for us. So we can easily tune into this, wrapping up our week, pinging and highlighting each of the messages that I've been bringing forward, starting with new beginnings and potential. Aces are always new beginnings. It's back to the beginning. And so as we kick off the beginning of this month, this fiery energy here is speaking to potential in all of the sparks and fire of, I always feel very connected into the sacral chakra, the source of birthplace in our body, this place of desire, our passions, and what it is that we wish to create in the world. So this can speak to, again, as you embark as the Page of Swords, packing that bag and setting out new ventures in your creative projects, in your businesses, new projects, new hobbies, being newly inspired. That's all stuff that's coming up here. Inspiration and creativity. So more of that, a surge of inspiration, a creative spark, a powerful time for creative pursuits. And it can suggest a time of increased energy and passion for those new ideas. So go with that, right? When you feel inspired to create, to take action, do, right? Enthusiasm and energy. So it's associated with high energy, confidence, excitement. Like I said, all of the highest aspects of that King of Wands embodying this suit. Together, this energy comes in with the potential for us to harness that fiery energy of confidence, courage, sparks, judgment, inviting us to shine your own unique light, to stand in your power and express. So that's all coming together here with this card. Growth and personal development. So the Ace of Wands can also suggest a personal growth and development. So it can indicate whether you're discovering new aspects of yourself or exploring new areas of personal interest. Like I said, as the judgment energy plucks away all of those old feathers, all of those old skins, that we are shedding and releasing. The hummingbirds on the judgment card speak to joy. They speak to being present in the moment and enjoying what is. And, again, the most aligned pathway for me now. And so be here now and enjoy this opportunity to express your unique creativity and sparks. I love that. And so finally, the last couple of buzzwords here, boldness and initiative. So the energy of the Ace of Wands is bold and encouraging. It advises you to take initiative, to be assertive and act confidently. So again, all of the things that are coming together this week with the Venus stationing direct and some of the winks that we had back to that Leo energy, and as some of those cards came forward here with the King of Wands, the fire, the confidence, the boldness to continue shining our most unique and authentic light in the world as we navigate these pathways and move through the elements of change. I love it. So this all just feels so perfectly aligned with the energies. Can't stop, won't stop. See, once I channel a word, it shows up all month long. It'll come up in the cards when I work with the Empowerment Pack and more. So it just keeps coming out. So once again, if you would like a personal card pull to go with these messages, please feel free to quick reply here on Marco Polo in the Sharecast, or you can send me a private message in any of the places, and I will pull you a card for the week ahead, weaving in how that may be coming forward for you with these cards. So it's like a little mini reading just for you, and I'll send that to you via a private polo. So do check that out. Also, if you are interested in joining for the Empowerment Pack that is really getting started tomorrow, Monday, September 4th, do get in touch with me and we will get you all set for your personal month ahead energy reading for navigating this powerful month. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm going to come in here and probably just do some photo bomb dropping of some interesting pictures and video and little anecdotes from the concert last night. So if you're interested, check it out. If you're not, you can scroll forward for the next polo. So thank you guys. Have an amazing week.